the lie about Pope Pius XII is that he was a collaborator with Hitler. But there are other lies that, Hitler was amenable to Christianity or something. And you think, well, look, just because the communists were bad doesn't mean the Nazis were good. And the historical fact is Pope Pius XII and Hitler were enemies. I mean, Hitler wrote in a letter to Franco that he considered Pius XII his personal enemy.
Yes.
He said that it was reported by, I think it was in Goebbels' diary, that after the war, he intended to destroy all of the Christian churches, including Protestant churches. We know that Hitler constructed a kind of positive Christianity, which was just Nazi Christianity after his own image. So these things are all real. I mean, there were distinctions between Hitler, Mussolini, and Franco, of course. But we had the opening of the Vatican Secret Archive, now renamed the Vatican Apostolic Archive, and so we can read a lot of documents that we previously didn't read. We can see a lot of letters from Jews, for instance, who were saved, many Jews who were saved by the intervention of Pope Pius XII, thanking him immediately after the war. So the notion that he's Hitler's pope is a preposterous calumny. And we also know that the man, his job before he was pope was that he was a diplomat. He was the Vatican's top diplomat. Before that, he was the diplomat in Germany. So he was intimately involved with the lead up to the war.
It was the KGB, I think, who helped fund that play. What was it called? The Deputy? To try to discredit the largest, most organized vocal opponent to communism. And I think that's how it began to spread. But listen to this. I found this quote. You remember Jack Chick, infamous for his anti-Catholic tracts?
Sure.
Listen to this. He said, when World War II ended, the Vatican had egg all over its face. Pope Pius XII, after building the Nazi war machine, saw Hitler losing his battle against Russia, and he immediately jumped to the other side when he saw the handwriting on the wall. Pope Pius XII should have stood before the judges in Nuremberg. His war crimes were worthy of death. I mean, this is bananas. So I think, you do have the kind of KGB pushing the narrative, and then that's picked up by anyone else who might be anti-Catholic.
The enemies of the church, which is everyone. I mean, you have to remember, 43, 44, Pius XII is a man alone. I mean, this is a man standing alone. He's the only guy who didn't leave Rome. He's the only major leader who didn't leave Rome. Mussolini was out. The King of Italy was out. Hitler was, there's good evidence, I think, Hitler was trying to kidnap the Pope and take him to Switzerland or Liechtenstein, probably execute him. Pius XII was prepared for that. He had a resignation letter in his desk such that, had he actually been kidnapped by the Nazis, he would have immediately renounced the papacy. There would have been a new pope. They would have just had a simple priest on their hands.
Wow.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but he's standing there and he refused to leave for the Orbi et Orbi, for his own people and for what that means for the faith around the world. And ultimately, the Nazis don't go through with the plan. Some have cast doubts on how serious Hitler was about it, but we do know one consistent perspective, which is that Hitler was out to get this guy from the very beginning. That never changed. We know, of course, that Pius XII was working in silence and underground to save many thousands of lives, open up convents to Jews in particular, but people who were being persecuted by the Nazis.
So he actually sheltered Jews in the Vatican.
And Castel Gandolfo.
Yes.
Some 800 Jews were being put up at Castel Gandolfo, like in the Pope's bedroom. Okay, so and these aren't
which
huge
generally would be a lovely place to vacation, but with 800 people,
under certain circumstances, it's not so great.
Yeah.
So it's and he's as the Vicar of Christ, he's got so many layers of responsibility. He was protecting Jews in particular around Rome. When during the Roman deportations, was passing false documents and things like that to help them escape. But you're in Pius's position. It's what do his critics want? They want him to get up there and say, I oppose the Fuhrer or something. To give some look, he was actually
look what happened in the Netherlands after that happened, right?
Yes.
Which archbishop was that? I forget. It was an archbishop in the Netherlands. They were told secretly by the Nazis not to publicly oppose the mass deportation of Jews.
Yeah.
They didn't go along with that. It was read in every parish, and then Jews started getting arrested and getting shipped off to gas camps. Like Edith Stein was one of them.
Yeah.
Be sure to download Truthly. Truthly is like ChatGPT, went to OCIA, got baptized, and now is on a mission to evangelize the world. Check it out, truthly.ai. So that's what happens when you stood up and spoke publicly.
And by the way, in the lead up to the war, there were ample public statements, criticizing Nazi ideology, not the least of which is Mit Brennender Sorge, by the encyclical in German, a rare encyclical.
By Pope Pius XI.
By Pius XI, while Pope Pius XII is the Vatican Secretary of State, one of the top advisors.
Tell us about that. It was written in German.
Yes, because it had to be smuggled around in order to have wide reach. But this was not merely an encyclical for the ages like all the rest of them in Latin. This was meeting the urgency of the moment.
You can read it right now online if people are interested.
Yes, that's right. It's right on the Vatican's website. And so I think when you see this sort of nonsense, there are kind of two calumnies of Pius XII. One, that he was the silent pope, and the harder one, like that nonsense you just read, which is he was Hitler's collaborator or something. Yeah. There are very few things that Pope Pius XII, Adolf Hitler, Francisco Franco, all of these people agree on. One thing they all agreed on is the Pope and Hitler hated each other. They were enemies. So that's ridiculous. That's almost not worth even acknowledging. Yeah. But then you have the question of silence.
Yes.
And this brings us back to Aristotle, which is what is the chief political virtue? It's prudence. Prudence is the chief political virtue. And so there's always this question, well, could Pius XII have done more? And actually, one of the great men who we interview in our series, won't try not to spoil too much of the series, but says no.
I love
emphatically no. I mean, this is because we're sitting here in our armchairs. We say, well, if only in 42 he had done this. Oh, if only in 44 he had done this. I think the simple answer is no. He could not have done more. This man is a hero. He's venerable for a reason. His cause of sainthood should be advanced. Not that anyone asks my opinion, but he really demonstrated extraordinary heroic virtue, and he's one of the best men of the 20th century.
Thanks very much for watching that clip. You can click the link below if you want to watch the full interview, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.